Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Uh, I did a video today and I worked very, very hard learning the solo on it, for it, basically. I mean, I wore grooves into the fingers of my left hand, into my calluses. I mean, even as an experienced player. It was very, very grueling, and the solo was like all over the place. It's a typical Tom Scholz Boston solo that's all over the fretboard. And now I know why he plays with 8 gauge strings instead of my 9 gauge strings. I couldn't even imagine trying to play that with like 10 gauge strings. But I digress. I worked very hard on that video. And something kind of struck me as I was looking around, and I get frustrated about this at times. And I have to really bring myself back down to earth when I get frustrated about YouTube and about the internet and about what's popular here as opposed to what has more value and what is harder to produce. In my personal opinion, as an experienced musician, the video I put out today has barely gotten 50 views in 8 hours. In 8 hours. And I have severe health problems. And it takes me usually a bunch of takes to do a video because I'll go into coughing fits. I also have, it's the winter time, so everything's dry. I mean, it's only 5% humidity in my room right now, which is very, very, very dry. And I have psoriasis. It's a skin condition, and it's like eczema. I know some of you probably know what I'm talking about. And I've got it on the fingertips of my right hand. So playing is painful. Not only do I go into coughing fits, but I also have cracked fingers, and I have to get this like liquid Band-Aid stuff because I can't put Band-Aids on my fingers being a guitar player, because that'll get in the way. So it's like this kind of stuff that's like super glue. And so I have this stuff on my hands, and I'm fighting through these coughing fits, and I get 50 views in 8 hours. Yet I see these people sitting there reading their stupid. They get an article off of the internet, and they'll sit there and read it and complain, and they'll get 8,000 views in 15 minutes. And sometimes it really honestly makes me wonder why the hell am I doing this? No, I almost said the other word, but honestly, and that's when I got to bring myself back down to earth. Is that music and things along those lines have changed, and I'll go into that in this video. Hopefully, this isn't going to be too long, but it'll go over probably about 10-15 minutes. So, if that's too much for you, then there are other videos you can watch. But I'm going to discuss it here. I do this stuff. Why do I do it? I do it for my friends and my subscribers. I have good friends here, and I have good subscribers. A lot of my subscribers have become good friends, and they're some of the best people on the planet, in my opinion. And the thing is, I'm kind of glad that my channel never got really, really big, because then you kind of lose that kind of intimate thing. There's so many, and you have that many people. I would be constantly inundated with comments and things, and it's like, which comments do you respond to? Do you respond to any of them? I mean, are people going to think you're being rude if you don't respond? A whole host of problems with being a bigger channel. But, for these people that sit there and read articles and do complaining videos and stuff like that, they're not in it for their subscribers. They're in it for the money. And more subscribers means more money. They get a ton of ad revenue from YouTube, and a lot of these people have quit their jobs and everything like that. I just did a YouTube search for about Spotify and things along those lines, and how Spotify has changed music. And in the middle of it, I got one of these complainers videos. This one guy who has a beard, and I'm not going to say his name because I'm not making him famous. He's already famous enough, and he gets like almost $1 million a year in ad revenue. He's like one of the YouTube darlings, and yet apparently he's one of the ones that's like a YouTube problem child. Bull. He's controlled opposition, and that's basically how that goes. He's a YouTube darling. He makes them ad money. He gets ad money. It's a one hand washes the other deal. Now, I'm going to say things in this video that some people might find offensive. People may think I'm sexist or a misogynist or whatever. I'm just speaking. I speak plainly. I speak plainly. I don't beat around the bush, and I don't mince words. If that bothers you, then I don't know what to tell you, because it's just the truth of things. Like it or not, this is the world we live in. Let me just tell you, and speaking to other people that also watch my channel who have guitar channels, you're not going to get famous on YouTube. You're not. Unless, like it says on the screen, unless you're a clown like Davey, the bass player guy. I don't even know. There was Davey, I don't know what his name is. But then Steve Turdberry, who I can't stand as well. These people that are clowns. Or you're a hot chick, or a hot female. You're gorgeous, you dress very skimpy, things along those lines. In fact, a lot of times you don't even have to dress skimpy, you just have to be pretty. And the desperate guys on the internet, and I'll explain that in a second, will flock to your channel, throw money at you, and give you all the attention and admiration as possible, as they all climb all over each other and step all over each other just to get your attention. Or you're a paid huckster, which means you've got things fixed. People can buy, they can buy views. You can buy views, you can buy subscribers. Companies will artificially inflate view numbers, subscriber numbers with bots. And if YouTube knows about it and there's an agreement in place with that company, or there's some kind of, passing along of money, then they will get that, they will allow that. So these channels will get artificially inflated in order to build up that ad revenue. And that's part of the company model. Paid Huckster puts out a video. Paid Huckster is a YouTube darling. Paid Huckster advertises a product. The company gives money to YouTube. The company gets ad revenue, and then YouTube gets ad revenue and the huckster gets ad revenue. It's all a one hand washes the other. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. It's just the way business works. And don't ever think that it's anything in any way different, because that is how it is. I know business. I've been in business before. I worked for corporations, and I know how they operate, and I know exactly how these people operate on here. So you're just not going to get popular doing guitar covers, even if you make informational videos or whatever. That shouldn't be really why you're doing it, because right now you're like you're like putting a lemonade stand on the street where there are 500 other lemonade stands on your street and the other 7 streets over. And you're expecting to get famous because your lemonade is better than others. That may be the case. It may very well be the case. You have more quality in your stuff than other people do, than most other people do. But that's not going to matter because there's 500 other lemonade stands. See what I mean? It's a saturated market. And in a saturated market, you cannot go any further. Okay. Now, here is why you have to really understand the way the internet works, the way YouTube works, the way all this online interaction works. I've been interacting with people online since the mid-'80s. Back in the BBS days of the Apple and the Commodore 64 and all that. Yes, we had online. It was different. You had to dial it through a modem on your telephone and tie up your telephone unless you had a second line. But there was still the internet. And when the internet became the internet, per se, in 1992 is when it really started to kick off with people. I worked for an internet service provider while I was married. And so I understand how the internet works, and I've been doing this for decades upon decades. So I know how people interact online, and I've seen it change and evolve over time. These days is what I'm going to talk about, because back then it was a different animal. These days, anybody with a pulse can get on the internet. All you got to do, turn on a cell phone. That's it. Turn on your smartphone, you're on the internet. Ta-da! It will connect to your Wi-Fi. It will connect to anything. As long as you got the password for the Wi-Fi, you're in. It used to be the old days. We had to configure things. We had to install drivers. We had to set baud rates. We had to set this. We had to set that. It was very technical to get on the internet. Now you got a pulse and a finger. You're on the internet. So, this is why people go on the internet, because now everybody's using the internet. And they've basically, what I would say, a term, they've mallified it. You know how you have a regular set of stores, or you have a mom and pop store, and then you have this giant mall, which has all the stores in it. And, you know, it's just so much of everything that it becomes kind of plastic. And that's what I'm talking about. There's so much of everything. Here's why people go on the internet. One, to complain. They like to complain. They want to see other people complain. They want to complain with other people. And this also ties into the second reason, to get their news and commentary. People come on the internet to get news and commentary, check the weather, do all that stuff. The internet, YouTube, is more popular than television. People like Joe Rogan get more views than CNN, MSNBC, Fox. You know, he beats them all. And he's not even on a television. So television is the old way. Now it's the internet. The internet is the new TV. And now everybody has a TV show. Everybody. I got one. My friends have them. If you got a YouTube channel, you have your own TV show. The third reason they go online is to shop. They go online to buy shit. That's why Bezos got so ridiculously wealthy, is because people go on there to buy shit. They go on to buy everything. You can even, if you're on food stamps, you can use an EBT card on Amazon. I'm disabled. I'm on disability, so yeah, I have an EBT card because disability doesn't pay you enough to live on. So I can get food from there, should I so desire. And the last reason people go on the internet? To watch hot chicks. That's what they do. They watch hot chicks. That's what they do. There are so many desperate men online. Think about that chick who was bottling up her own farts and sold them online for $20 a jar, I think it was. I can't remember the exact price. I remember people were talking about it. Yeah, she bottled up her own farts and sold them, and she made millions. Then there's another one. This chick in South Africa. I can't remember her name. But she bottled her supposed bathwater into these little tins or whatever. Her bathwater. And she sold her bathwater for $30 a tin. And she's a multi-millionaire. Why? Because there are a lot of sick, demented, and desperate guys online. And maybe females if they lean that way. That is something that is hugely popular. And a lot of it has to do with dynamics changing as the social justice warriors and all those types have changed the dynamics between men and women. And so relationships aren't what they were. All the relationship roles are basically kind of thrown out the window now. And I don't appreciate it. I don't approve of it, but what am I going to do? I'm a dinosaur. That's what it comes down to. Where it goes, I don't know. Will it destroy us all? I don't know. So, it is what it is. People come online to watch hot chicks. So, that's the fourth reason people come online. And there's a little bit of a fifth one. They come online to watch TV shows and stuff. Because you've got all the streaming services and stuff like that, and movies. You got all the streaming services. So, okay, there's a fifth reason. So, that's the reason they go online. You know? So, you have to fit into that kind of category. Music has changed. Boy, this has really gone on long. I'm sorry this is going on so long, but it's just the way it is. Music has changed. Spotify has destroyed the value of music. Now, anybody who's my age, I'm in my 50s, and maybe a little bit younger, if you have gone and bought music in a store, which, you know, is something people used to do, you used to value that because you had to get the money together and then you would get the package. You would get the CD or the record for us oldies, and you'd bring it home and you'd be excited. You cut open the plastic and see what's in there. What did they include with it? You had an actual financial investment into that music and you listened to it. These days, you can turn on Spotify and there's no investment. You don't even have to have an. All you got to do is have an account, and you don't even have to pay for it. You can watch all the free. You can listen to all the free music you want. You just have to deal with an ad every 2 or 3 songs or something, and so there's no investment in music anymore. And every person who is a musician, well, maybe not everybody, but most people that are musicians, they got music on Spotify or the SoundCloud or whatever. But you can put music on Spotify. You just copyright it and it's there. So people don't, musicians are a dime a dozen now because anybody who's even slightly a musician doesn't even have to worry about making it anymore. They can just put their shit online and there you go. They don't have to worry about music record companies. You don't have to worry about talent scouts. You don't have to worry about contracts. None of that shit. You just put your shit on, you copyright your shit, put it on Spotify, and there it is. People either listen to it or they won't. And it's a saturated market because just about every joker with any musical ability has got music on somewhere online, especially on Spotify. So too much of anything is never a good thing. And that is why people don't respect musicians as much as they used to. I mean, back when I was younger, if somebody knew you were a musician, it was like the girls were like, "Oh, he's a musician, all right." And didn't matter how ugly you were or whatever. I mean, look at the Stones. The Rolling Stones have got to be some of the ugliest dudes on the planet, and there's even worse, than the Stones. Mott the Hoople, a lot of these kind of. It didn't even matter. These older groups with these guys who looked like, they got, run over by a steamroller somehow. And they still got tons of girls. Look at Gene Simmons. That dude is ugly as sin. But he's still got thousands and thousands of women. Why? Because people respected musicians. And that got him famous. And that was it. There's no respect to musicians anymore. It's just... You're just, a musician? Yeah, there's about 20 of them. Too much of anything is never a good thing. And I'll put an example of that. Say you've got say you've got $20. You got a $20 bill. Okay, you got $20 in ones. You drop 1 or 2 ones. And you're like, oh no, so now you only got $18. That's going to matter more than if you've got $100 and say you lose $1 or 2. Then you got $98. See what I mean? You're not going to care so much if you lose a couple dollars out of $100 or even $1,000. But you're going to care about losing a couple of bucks out of $20 because it's much higher stakes. When you have too much of something, you're not going to care about the little things, and you're not going to care about everything. And that's the way it is. And YouTube is the same way. YouTube is a saturated market. The popular channels have sewn up the market share of viewers. The Davies, the Phil McKnights, the Music is Wins, all these guys that are all, they're either hucksters or they're jokers or clowns or whatever, or even the hot chicks. They've got it all sewn up. You're not going to get their views. You're not going to get anywhere near their views. And that isn't why you should be doing this. There's a girl who I've seen, I think she's from England or something, and she looks like a supermodel. And she looks like one of those old supermodels. Like, she looks like she could be Bo Derek, and this is for all your older guys, she looks like she could be Bo Derek's little sister. That's how hot this chick is. And guys saturate her channel. I mean, they're all over her channel. She puts out a video, she gets 2,000 views in a matter of 10-15 minutes. Why? Because of the way she looks. She's a good musician, yes, but that's not why they're coming here. Now imagine if she was butt ugly and she was putting out music and she was still a good musician. She'd get a few views here and there, but she would be ignored for the most part because she's not hot. That's just, people are freaking shallow these days. That is what we live in, a visual society now. This is like we took the worst parts of the 80s and we made them our regular culture. And the worst part of the 80s was it was all about image. And that's the sad part. I remember going to I was living in Massachusetts at the time and working for a corporation. And I wanted to get into a band on the weekends. And there was this dude, blonde dude, tall, skinny. And he was looking for musicians. So I went to his house to go, I answered his ad, went to his house to go audition. He opened the door, looked me up and down and said, nope, not interested. Because I didn't look the part. Even though I had hair down to halfway to my butt, it didn't matter. I wasn't totally skinny. I wasn't pretty. You know, I wasn't a pretty boy. And he wasn't interested just looking at me. He didn't care how well I played, or even if I could play a note. I didn't look the part. I wasn't even let in the door. And that was the 80s. That's the worst part of the 80s. You know, and when it's all about image, it's shallow. And that's why a lot of people cling to the old music, is because it wasn't about image really back then. And now it doesn't matter anyway. A lot of these people that are still, you know, that are still alive that were putting out music back then, they look like hell. I mean, look at Mick Jagger. He looks like freaking Don Knotts. But people are still going to see him because he's Mick Jagger. That's all there is to it. So, you know, the clowns and the hot chicks and the hucksters have taken over YouTube. I mean, they've got it sewn up. It's just the way it works. And unless you're you know, one of the complainer videos or complainer channels or news regurgitators, you're not going to get tons of views, because it's just not it. Music is tough. It's a tough market on YouTube, and you're not going to get it popular. I'm not popular. I have 1,350 subs now, close to or around that, 13.5 or 1.35 or something K subs is what it says, and I'm not popular. Not at all. I mean, if I put out a video and in 8 hours only getting 50 views, that means I'm not popular. These people put out videos, even the hot chicks with the guitars, and they get thousands of views in a matter of an hour. They get more views in half a day than I get in an entire month. And that's all my videos combined, all my thousands of videos combined. Because I have over 1,500 videos in my guitar videos playlist, and that's combined. They get more views in a matter of a couple hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours than I get out of all my thousands of videos in 1 month. That says something. It's just the way it is. You know, and it's something that I've accepted. And you may not like me talking about hot chicks and all this other stuff, may think it's sexist, but hey, this is the world we're living in. Life sucks, like Dennis Miller said. Life sucks, buy a helmet. That's all there is to it. It's just the way things are now. So why did I stick around? For my friends and subscribers. And if you're still listening by this point, you're probably one of them. And I thank you. You guys are what keep me going, especially after losing my mom on Christmas Day, which was, that was the end of my world, it felt like. And I'm still kind of in a fog, and there's still a lot of uncertainty. So I may disappear at some point. I don't know. It all depends on what happens in the next several months. So it'll make or break whether I stick around or not. Because if I don't have a house, then I'm not going to be making videos. So just the way it goes. And I won't be around anymore, because with my health problems, I couldn't survive on the street. So while we've got this time together, we can cherish this time together, because you never know what's going to happen, and especially in my case, because the next several months are very, very uncertain. So remember, you know, you're not going to get popular with a guitar musician channel unless you're either a hot chick, a clown, or you're a bought-off huckster. You know, you're a sponsored huckster. That's the only way you're going to make any kind of waves in the music on YouTube and on social media. It's just the way it is. You know, it's a saturated market. And I've been through a lot in my 46 years of being a musician to really, I mean, I've put up with thin times, and I've had awesome times where everything was popular and things were flying around, and it was awesome. But, you know, you take the good with the bad. That's what being a musician is. So you just handle it. But don't expect to get popular in this day and age. It's not, the days of the musician are pretty much gone. Now it's all about style and appearance and money. That's what it's all about. So do it because you enjoy it, not because you want to get famous on YouTube. That's all there is to it. If you're just a regular guy like me, or even a regular girl, average looks or whatever, just do it because you love it. Don't do it to get popular. It's just not going to happen. It's just the way it works. Do it for the music. And do it for the people who really care about you. Because those people that really care about you and that talk to you every day, they're the ones who matter above all else. Have a good day.